Okay, I'm going to be doing this unscripted and on the fly, but it's kind of weird, isn't it? Or it's kind of interesting. A couple weeks ago, people criticized Seth Rollins for defending WWE. Seth Rollins basically flat out said, and I was just thinking about what I was going to say there, just flat out said that we don't understand the behind the scenes hard work that it takes for a company like WWE to be where it's at. Or for the men and women that travel 300 plus days a year, we don't understand how they feel. Or we don't appreciate what they can do. Basically, Seth Rollins went on a tirade. And he even added his 2 cents into something I'm going to talk about as well here. But you see, I've talked about this before. I don't know if Jeff at OTRS Central, I don't know if Alex at the Lexman's World, I don't know if Jerry at JD from NY206, Don Tony, Kevin Castle, Jason Solomonster sounds off, OK Fabe, Onaku, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Aaron Rift or Jeff Meacham, or anybody's talked about this. But there is a reason, in my opinion, from what I have noticed, the reason why people criticize WWE, and sometimes not even WWE, or not just WWE, but other promotions as well. There is a reason. And it can be traced all the way back to when UFC started to get really, really popular. And not just because Brock Lesnar joined the ranks or anything like that, but when it came common knowledge that people like Shamrock, Dan Severn, you name it, came from a UFC background. Only then did the attention start really building and building and building. And when people started seeing guys like Frank Mir and a few others, start to make a name for themselves, and they started hearing names of Tony Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, that guy that's with the Spider nickname, Anderson Silva. All these guys start to make waves and everything. Not only did he get eyes on the UFC product, but people started to appreciate what they were seeing there. And what they were seeing was a legitimate sport, was a legitimate fighting sport of a mixture of wrestling, boxing, basically a huge hybrid of things they liked, but mostly the wrestling. And not just that, they started seeing these men and then later on women, when they're in these MMA matches, do a little bit of flips and kicks. And then sooner or later, what happened? Companies like Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and several others on the independent scene that were trying to make a name for themselves started to adopt that kind of style into the wrestling. And what happened because of it? Fans started to want to see more of that than anything else. And when it came to WWE, even now, despite the fact that they are giving the fans what they want, despite the fact that giving the fans what they want in this kind of style at times, it's still not enough. Because now fans are starting to see a hybrid of that, not just still in places like Ring of Honor or Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or even Impact Wrestling, or probably very eventually, well already, but on a weekly basis within the next few months, AEW and several others. But they're starting to see it in places mostly like New Japan. New Japan was making waves, trying to be that second tier company that people could get behind on a worldwide basis. They're starting to see it there. And by seeing this hybrid of wrestling and MMA styles in places like Japan that's known for its strong style of wrestling, and then you add that over to Ring of Honor and stuff like that, this is why people complain about companies like WWE not being what they should be. This is why when they come onto social media, whether it's here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, and they complain. They come out and say, this is not supposed to be wrestling. This is wrestling. It all goes back to when UFC started to really get on the map and people started taking notice because of some of the things they were doing. And fans wanted to see more of that in wrestling. Again, like I said, when wrestling promotions, little by little, started to adopt that hybrid style as well. And more so when they started to see that hybrid style incorporated into companies like New Japan, Ring of Honor, and several others, they expect WWE to be the ones that should adopt it the most. They expect WWE to be the ones that adopt it the most because they're supposed to be the #1 brand, the be-all end-all. To a lot of fans, they should be at the forefront of doing this stuff, especially nowadays. I mean, this is where you get the term sometimes of hardcore fans, because fans of the hardcore style expect the Major League of Wrestling, and I'm not just talking MLW, I'm talking the Major League of Wrestling, WWE, to be at the forefront of this. And even though people have pointed out that WWE has somewhat gone in that direction, it's still not enough. Because what fans are complaining about, apparently, is not the fact that WWE is going in that direction. They're complaining of the fact that WWE is not doing what these other companies are doing. More likely, let's say New Japan, right? If fans had their way and they were running WWE events, or WWE live, live television events like Raw or SmackDown or whatever, they'd be like, okay, that match is over. Now, next match, let's go. Let's get another 20-minute classic. Let's go. Or, okay, that match is done. Let's get this match going. Come on, let's get another 20 to 30-minute classic. Let's go. Hard hitting. Let's go. That's what they want. That's why they complain. It's because they want WWE to be like these other promotions. And these wrestlers like a Seth Rollins, and now even an AJ Styles, who's come to Seth's defense, are basically trying to make people understand. We're not like... They're trying to get people to understand, look, we're not like these other promotions. These other promotions somewhat have lesser schedules than we do. They have less dates and everything to work with than we do. Despite being on a major platform or not, they have lesser schedules than we do. We are a 300+ day a year promotion. We're on the road 300+ days a year. That's why when you go to a live event, a non-televised live event, or you go to a Raw or a SmackDown, that's why you don't always see that 110% effort given at times, or you see the kind of matches you want to see. Because of the fact that they have to travel sometimes, and sometimes they have to drive themselves. You don't believe me? Ask Bailey. Ask Bailey. That's what guys like Seth and AJ and several others are trying to get across. And people will say, well, that doesn't make... Now, I know people do have the right to say, well, that doesn't excuse the fact that, even if they travel, they still put on some semi-good matches. Why can't they do it on Raw and SmackDown and all that? They do, but it all depends on when certain people have days off. Don't you see? Let's say Seth Rollins and AJ get a couple of days off, and then they're scheduled to open up Raw with a match that is scheduled to go 30 minutes. And they go out for that 30 minutes, maybe non-commercial wise, and they just tear the house down like people have said they've done before, and we've seen them do before. Then, honestly, honestly, I'm trying to think about what to say here. It's honestly because they've had time to rest. Sometimes these men and women that do travel, and I'll give them this, they don't have that much time to rest. It's almost like they can rest for this a little bit, then get up, get to the arena, rehearse, get back to the hotel, rest a little bit, then leave, go to the next town, or unless they're informed, okay, you get the next day off, you can fly back home for the next day or two. That's about it. That is about it. And I think that's what Seth Rollins and AJ and like I said, a lot of them are trying to get across. But you see, this is where the hardcore fans differ. The hardcore fans, and sometimes casual fans, they don't see that. They look at WWE and the talent there, and the talent there is supposed to be the be-all, end-all, right? And they should be the ones that basically prove that they're the better product by putting on matches that would put NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, to shame. That's how fans view it. And again, it all goes back. It all stems back to when UFC got on the map with its style. And then all these other promotions adapted that. You know, that's why fans complain. And when it comes to the announcers, it's not the fact that the announcers are doing a bad job. It's that these hardcore fans, they want announcers that are like, okay, 30 minutes in. Ooh, what a match this is. Ooh, Hurricane Runner into a backflip. Ooh, what a match this is. 30 minutes in. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is what pure pro wrestling is about. This is what it's all about. This is what a sport of pure pro wrestling is about. That's what they want. They want announcers that do that. And it doesn't matter if you have a female commentator or a heel commentator like Renee Young and Corey Graves. They want what they want. They want, ooh, what a match this is. Who can run into a standing dropkick? Ooh, what a match. Ooh, that blows the gun. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, what a sport match. What a match this is. It defines what the sport of pure wrestling is. That's what they want. And they don't understand that you're not always going to get that. Honestly, would a lot of people feel that the sport would be better? That professional wrestling across all boards would be better if we had those kind of people? Absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing is, that's not how things work. There's an old saying that life's not always fair. You're not always going to get what you want. And you got to deal with the cards dealt with you. I mean, you think All Elite Wrestling is going to give you what you want? You think they're going to be perfect all the time? No. There are going to be days people are going to be like, oh, AEW, not this again. I'm tuning over to NXT. And there are going to be days people are like, oh, NXT, not this again. I'm going to tune into AEW. And there are going to be days where both are like, oh, these two don't know when to make up their mind. Click. That's it. And they'll turn it off. The thing is, we live in a world where nobody's ever satisfied. People will complain about stuff here and there and not accept the truth about things. They won't. I mean, as crazy as this is to throw in, My Little Pony, for example, Friendship is Magic. There's a lot of romantic ships, if you will, between characters that are teased. And even though visually in people's eyes, they see a potential ship being made semi-official or very much official, they still won't accept it. They still can't accept it because it's not what they want. But again, we live in a life and a society where you don't always get what you want and life's not fair. I mean, look, I just turned 40. Would I like to spend my 40th birthday in Las Vegas? Absolutely. Teeth fixed or not teeth fixed, it doesn't matter. I would have loved it. But I didn't get it. I did not get that. Would I like to get the VR set for the PlayStation 4? Eventually, yes. Would I have loved to have gotten it when it first came out? Yes. But I didn't. And that's tough beans. You gotta live with it. Would I like to get a copy of Captain Marvel, even though it's hard to get right now at my job for some reason? Yes, I would like to get it, but I can't. I mean, I can order it on Amazon, it'd be a different story, but still, I couldn't, when I didn't have the money to get it, I couldn't. That's just how the cookie crumbles, right? The point is, you're not always going to get what you want. And that's what a lot of hardcore fans need to understand. They need to understand that, look, they need to understand that we as fellow fans and critics and all that, we understand where they're coming from. They have to understand that as crazy as this is to sound, as crazy as this is going to be to sound, I should say, they have to understand that the people in WWE New Japan, All Elite Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, you name it. They understand what you want, but they also have to. But they're also letting you understand that we get what we get. I mean, they basically are saying in their own way. Maybe they could make it sound better and more understanding at times. I do agree with that. But in their own unique way, they're trying to tell you, look, we get it. You want this, and we're trying to give you this, but it's not always going to be that way, and you just got to deal with it. You just got to learn that, again, like I said before. In their own way, they're trying to say, look, life's not fair, and you're not always going to get what you want. I mean, do fans always want Brock Lesnar? Do fans want Brock Lesnar to stay away from that Universal Championship that he currently has? Absolutely. Do they want someone like a Samoa Joe to have it? Or an AJ Styles or Ricochet to have it? Absolutely. But they're not getting it. They're not getting it because they're not always going to get what they want. And you know, here's the thing. You talk about All Elite Wrestling being an alternative. What's going to happen if Cody Rhodes, and this is eventually probably in people's mind going to happen, Cody Rhodes ends up becoming the All Elite Wrestling World Champion. And he keeps it for longer than anybody. And sooner or later, people are like, okay, get that belt off Cody. Okay, this person's going to... And eventually people are going to be like, okay, somebody's got to get that belt off Cody. And you think to yourself, okay, Omega's going to be the one that gets it off him. But that doesn't happen. Oh, Hangman Page will be the one that gets it off him. That doesn't happen. Oh, Luchasaurus! Big giant dude! He'll get it off him. Not gonna happen. Jon Moxley, former Dean Ambrose. Makes sense, right? Not gonna happen. Or it doesn't happen, I should say. All these potential challenges to someone like Cody if he becomes world champion, you think, MJF could be it, or Moxley could be it, or Luchasaurus, or Page, or Omega, or Jericho, or Pac. You know, all these potential guys that you would think would be the ones to take the belt off Cody, and in the end, what would happen? In the end, what's the reaction when it doesn't happen? It's like, again, it's like, ugh, how much longer? Right? That's what it is. Even though you want, let's say, someone like MJF to become a world champion, which he's primed to be, and let's say he beats someone, and let's say you think he's going to be the one that beats Cody, and it doesn't happen. You know, you start getting frustrated and tired of the fact that Cody keeps dominating and keeping the belt. And you're like, when? When and where is he going to drop this damn thing? Again, that's a metaphor of what's going on, let's say, with Brock Lesnar. You're thinking, how many times is this guy going to have the damn belt? And how long is he going to keep it before somebody beats him for it? Or he's scheduled to drop it to somebody and put somebody over? Basically, it's called not always getting what you want and just dealing with the cards dealt with you. I mean, is Brock going to lose the Universal Championship eventually? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's not. But right now, we just got to deal with the cards dealt. And that's about it. And that's what a lot of hardcore fans, and this is coming from a casual fan, a long-time fan at that too, is trying to get across. We get and understand what you want, and in a way some of these promotions get and understand what you want. Mostly the wrestlers and the men and women that compete in that ring understand that. But what they're trying to say, and like I said, sometimes they can word it better, is you just got to deal with what's being dealt with right now, because you're not always going to get what you want. So, I mean, AEW may say one thing, but don't be surprised if they say it ends up being another. But that's all I can really say, guys. Let me know what you think, though, down below. Comment if you like. Talk to y'all later.